What's going on, guys? Today's video is going to be just a little bit different than what you're used to. With Flesh and Blood growing so much over the last 2 to 3 years since I've started making content, I'm constantly getting messages, comments on YouTube, on TikTok videos. What is Talishar? How are you playing online? So today, the video, we're breaking down how to play online on Talishar from start to finish. I'm going to tell you what Talishar is, how to create an account, what everything means, how to work through the user interface. We're going to do it all from start to finish so you'll know exactly what to expect when you decide you want to play some games online. If this is the kind of content that you think you might like, consider giving a like and subscribe, or leave a comment down below about how you think I could improve this. It'd help a lot and it'd mean a lot. Before I can show you how to use Talishar or what the UI is going to look like, we have to first know what is Talishar. Talishar is a free-to-play website that I've got highlighted in a blue box up here that anybody has access to. This is how I stream. This is how I play games online. It is a great tool to be able to practice or goldfish hands against the AI bot. We're going to talk about all of that today, but Talishar.net is what Talishar is, and that's how I'm playing online. But don't worry, I'm going to have some links in the description below for all of the websites we're going to be using today and the different things I'm going to walk you through. So when we get started and we finally, we found the Talishar webpage, I'm going to go ahead and make this full screen just so it looks a little bit cleaner. The first thing we have to do is we have to create an account. Well, if you've never tried to play Talishar before, you don't have an account. And you'll notice that we can't really do anything. We can't create a public game here. It'll only let us play private games against our friends or bots. It won't let us find games to spectate over here on the left. So what we're going to have to do to get started is we're going to create an account. Now, to create an account, we're going to find that big yellow button in the top right-hand corner that says Login. So we click on Login, and it now brings us to our login screen. If you have a Talishar account, it's going to ask you to log in by punching in your username and your password right here. Now, after you log in, this Remember Me box right here, this is going to be great to remember you on the PC that you play games on. I play Talishar on this computer all the time, so I hit Save Me the moment I log in so that I don't have to do it every single time. But since we've never played Talishar before, we're going to be looking for this Sign Up button down here at the bottom. It's highlighted in blue on my screen. Once you find that button, you're going to go ahead and click on it. When you click on Sign Up, it tells you everything that you need. You need a username, an email address, and you need a password that you're going to confirm. Also, I do get a kick out of the fact that Talishar is terms and services, that we're agreeing that Talishar is not a judge. Now, I want to give a disclaimer. Talishar does a phenomenal job of trying to make sure that the rules are up to date and that all of the interactions work. But there are times that, it's not perfect, right? So keep that in mind as you're playing Talishar. It's not perfect, but it is a phenomenal resource. And all of the Talishar devs and coders, they do a phenomenal job at keeping it all up to date. So what you're going to do is you're going to punch in a username, whatever you would like for it to be. You're going to punch in an email address that you have, and then you're going to create yourself a password. After you do these things, you're now going to check that you agree, and you're going to hit this yellow button that says Submit down here. Once you punch all of that in and hit Submit, it's going to log you in. Okay, so now we have officially created a Talishar account, and I've set it up so that it remembers me so that the next time I open Talishar.net, it'll automatically log me in. Now, once we've logged in, we have a few options up here at the top. You can log out. You can access your profile, which will show you any of your favorite decks that you have saved. We're going to talk about that here in just a few minutes. Or you can change the language. Now, English is my first language, so that's what I have it set up as. But if you click the drop down here, there are 6 different options that you can change it to, depending on what your native language is and what you might like it to be in. But I'm going to leave mine set as English for today because that's what I speak, and it's going to be the easiest for me to go through this video for you. Now, we're going to come back to how to create a game here in just a minute. That's what we're going to talk about before we actually get in and start setting up and sideboarding. What I want to talk about over here is the games that you can see. Now, you'll notice that it's just labeled games at the section, and you do have a reload button. So for anybody who does not know, the F5 key on your keyboard is a common way to refresh a web browser page. But instead of refreshing the entire page, you can click that yellow reload button, and it'll automatically update the games. So it'll show you what games are waiting to be joined. What games can you join and start playing in? Or if you keep coming down here to the bottom, what games can you spectate? It tells us that there are 165 games in process, and then it has them broken out by category. So I'm going to scroll down just a little bit here. You'll notice that we have a blitz category, we have a competitive blitz category, and then we have a classic constructed category. So you can actually look at and spectate different games depending on like what you want to watch or what's happening. Because there are plenty of times when maybe I can't play a game because I've got something going on, but maybe I want to spectate a game because I'm able to watch and just kind of sit here. So spectating games can be a really cool thing to do. It lets you know what other players are testing, what other players are trying. And also if you're trying to learn like the user interface, this is a great way to be able to see what happens and how cards pop up on the screen. To spectate a game, all you simply do is find the match you're looking for and then click on the spectate button. It'll automatically take you into that game for you to be able to spectate and look at. Now, if we want to join a game, you'll notice that you have the join button over here next to games that are available. So if we wanted to join one of these games right here, what we would do is we would simply click on the little join button right here, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. So we click join, and then it's asking us for a deck link or a URL from Fabrary.net. If you have never heard of Fabrary, I'm going to break that down for you really quick. Fabrary is a website where you can actually build decks together. You can build exactly what you want with all of Flesh and Blood's card database, and they update that as new sets come out. So you're able to build decks, name decks, do whatever you like, and then once you have a deck built, you copy that URL, and then you bring it to this website, and right here, you paste the link into this box. Once you've pasted the link into this box, you click on join game down here and it'll automatically try to jump you into a game. Now, we're not looking to actually play a game against anybody. I'm just showing you how this works, so I'm not going to actually do this. If I had a favorite deck saved on my account, all I would have to do is come right here to this little drop-down menu and I would click this and it would show me all of my favorited decks. Now, I just created a test account, so we don't have any favorite decks on this test account I just created, but this is how you would find them and save yourself some time as you're looking to join games quicker. I'm going to go ahead and click the little Talishar icon in the top left-hand corner to take me back to the home page. This takes me back to the home page here. Now, we talked about how you can spectate games, how you can see what games are being played, how you can join games. Let's talk about how you can create a game, either to play against a public random opponent or how you can play a private match against your friends. We're going to be using this section right here to create a game, and it is labeled Create New Game, making it very easy for us to find and very quick. We talked about the favorite deck section. This is exactly the same. You click the little drop-down arrow and it'll show you a list of all of your favorite decks. If you don't have any decks favorited yet, what you're going to do is you're going to look for this deck link URL from Fabrary. When you find this, this is where you copy that Fabrary link and you bring it over and you paste it into this box right here. Now, if we didn't have any favorites set up, what we would do is we would paste the deck link in here. I think I still have, I still have my Jarl deck link pulled up right now. So I pasted in my Jarl deck link, and then if I wanted to favorite this deck, all I do is I check this little box right here that says Save to Favorite Decks. So I'll check this, and then if I create a game, the next time I go to create one, I'll automatically have my Jarl deck saved inside of my favorite dropdown here. So that'll save you some time, and it's a very neat way to like kind of customize your preferences here. As we continue moving down through here, you can actually give this a game name if you would like to. If there were any game names, we would see them over here in between like the game number. It would be right here for us to see. So right here where this says game number, it would show us if they had put like looking for Syndra. Like one of the best things you can do with this game name box right here is if you want to play against a Syndra opponent. Like let's say that I'm practicing my Jarl deck and I want to play against Syndra to practice a little bit. In the game name, I could type in looking for Syndra to make it easy to do. Now, right here, we'll just go ahead and I'm going to type in LF and then I'm going to type in Syndra. Now, LF is a shorthand acronym for looking for. It's just a quick way to find this. So now anybody who sees my game will now see that I am looking for a Syndra game and it'll appear right here for whoever's trying to join my game. Now, you don't always get the deck you're looking to play against, but it is a very cool thing to have. The next thing that we're going to talk about here, we're going to scroll down just a little bit. We're going to talk about the format and the different things that you can play. We're going to start by clicking on this little drop down arrow right here to look at our format and see what we can select from. If we click our drop down, you'll notice we get a ton of options here. You can play Blitz, Classic Constructed. There are also competitive Blitz and competitive CC, and we're going to talk about the differences in those in just a minute. You have Limited, Commoner, Clash, Living Legend. You also have competitive Living Legend down here at the bottom, and then you have Open Blitz, Open Living Legend, and Open CC. That means no restrictions. So whenever a new set comes out, a lot of times the cards become available online before the set is legally available for us to have in paper, meaning that we can test our new cards on Talishar, which is absolutely awesome. If you use this Open CC, this no restrictions, this is a way for you to load in cards before they're technically legal. So right now, the best example that I can give you is coming out in December of 2025. I'm recording this in October, but in December or November, I believe, we have the Rhinar Armory deck coming out. I saw somebody playing Open CC with Rhinar earlier because they wanted to play some of the new cards that have been spoiled for us and that they've revealed already. So that's how you can find this out, by playing any of the open formats. It'll let you play new cards that maybe aren't available yet. Let's talk about the difference between regular Classic Constructed and competitive Classic Constructed. Regular Classic Constructed means that you can undo without having to ask your opponent. Now, as somebody who plays a lot of Talishar, I beg you, please don't abuse this. It's not what it's there for. The undo function in Talishar inside of the game, which I will talk about and show you here in just a minute how that works, it's going to let you undo actions or start the turn over without asking your opponent. I like to play in the competitive CCQ because that means that if I make a mistake or if I need to undo something, when I hit the letter U on my keyboard to undo, it asks my opponent, are you okay with your opponent undoing this? And they can hit yes or no. So they can accept that or deny that. So as you start testing and you're getting more competitive, keep that in mind, that the competitive CC or competitive Blitz or competitive Living Legend is going to give you that option to decline it from other players. But that Classic Constructed queue will not ask you this. As you're learning to play the game and you're getting into the UI, Classic Constructed is the best format to use when you're looking to play games. So for today's video, I'm going to go ahead and select this Classic Constructed option right here. So I'm going to pull up my list and I'm going to select Classic Constructed. The next box it gives us is visibility. You can make a public game, which anybody can spectate, or you can make a private game that no one can spectate unless you allow spectators. So what we're going to do is we're going to click the drop down right here, and you have your public or your private game. If you create a public game, it automatically goes onto this list over here for people to see and look at or join if they want to. If you create a private game, it does not pop up in any way. It automatically just becomes private so nobody else can see the game. And then from there, you can actually copy the link and send it to your friends on Discord or whatever platform you're using to be able to play a private game with your friends and test a little bit. We're going to leave this set as public for today because for the video, we're actually going to be playing against the bot, so it's not really going to matter which one we use. So we have public selected. Now, I have the option to make this a single player game. If you are looking to goldfish your deck or maybe just practice some hands and see if the deck functions well, you can select this box and make it a single player game, which means you'll play against the bot. Now, the AI deck, you have some options to select from. We're going to click this little drop down arrow right here, and we're going to go ahead and see which decks we can pick. We can play against the Practice Dummy, we can play against Flick Flack Ira, which is a Blitz deck, or we can play against CC Fi. The Talishar devs have set up all three of these so that we have the ability to play against them and test our decks however we would like. I'm going to select the Practice Dummy for the purposes of this video. After we have selected all of our game settings and added everything that we would like, we're going to click this yellow button that says create game. This is going to actually set up the game and give us the ability to start playing and like start sideboarding so that we can get our game ready and have our game plan set up. Okay, so we have officially created a game, and since we're playing against the AI, the bot, we've automatically found an opponent. Now, if you look in the top left corner up here, it shows both you and your opponent. This is me, Agrablaze96, and I'm playing Jarl, and then we have our practice dummy AI that we're playing against. Now, it shows both the name of you and your opponent, and it shows the name of the heroes that you guys are going to be playing. You also have a way to be able to view the game log and be able to chat with your opponent if you would like to. Now, you can send quick chat messages under the send a message function. So if we're going to open this up, before every game, I like to say good luck and have fun just to let my opponent know that, I'm ready to go and good sportsmanship in general. You also have the ability to invite your opponent to chat. If you click invite to chat, it's going to pop up and say Agrablaze96 wants to enable chat. If your opponent declines, it will tell you in the thing that your opponent declined the chat. If they accept, you will get a freehand text box. It's going to replace both of these right here, and then you're just going to have a freehand text box where you can just type your message and send whatever you would like. So generally, this is used after a game when somebody's like, oh man, I drew like such a bad hand. I drew all reds and I lost at the end of the game. And I'm always like, yeah, it feels so bad. Like, I hate that feeling. Just for us to like kind of banter and chat and things like that. So those are very good pieces to keep in mind. The first tab that we're looking at as far as setting up our deck is the equipment tab. Now, the equipment tab is exactly what it sounds like. It shows us all of our weapons, our head pieces, our chest pieces, our arm pieces, and our leg pieces that we have set up for our deck. Now, right here, I'm able to pick amongst my weapon. I'm able to pick amongst like any of the equipment that I would like. So let's say that, since these are smaller, they're maybe not the easiest to see, we're going to go ahead and make sure that we pick the right ones. Well, if you don't know exactly what you're looking at as you're learning the game, you can do what I like to call hover to discover. So you're going to go ahead and take your cursor and you're going to hover over something. So when I hover over my weapon that I don't have selected, it pulls it up on the screen so that I can see it in big text here, which is great. It makes it so easy to read. It even shows me the flavor text on it, which is super cool. Now, a good way to tell that something has been selected is we're going to use our two headpieces right here. We have a coronet peak and we have a balance of justice that we can pick from. Now, right now, I have coronet peak selected. You'll notice that it has this like little yellow line around it and it's highlighted and has more colors on it than our balance of justice. But if I was to take my mouse and come over here to my balance of justice and click on it, I'm going to hover over it and I'm going to click on it. You'll now notice that my balance of justice has these little lines around it and it's now colorful like my coronet peak was. So all you have to do is select which one you want to bring into the game with you and it'll automatically be set up for you. Now, I do want to talk about my matchups tabs over here. I know that my camera box is covering some of these, but you're able to see that I have what are called matchup tabs. So I have a Syndra matchup tab. If I was going to play a game against Syndra, I would simply click on this button and it automatically pulls in all of the settings that I have set up for my Jarl deck into the Syndra matchup. Now, this is set up through the Fabrary website when you're setting up your deck, which I'm going to talk about in my How to Use Fabrary video coming a little bit later down the line. This is going to be a whole new player series where we talk about how to break things down and how to use things online. So if you're liking this video and you want to see more about how to use Fabrary, make sure you check out the whole playlist and you'll be able to find that video there. The next thing that we want to look for is we want to look for our deck. Now, we've set up our equipment the way that we want, but let's take a look at our deck. Now, in our deck, it's telling us down here at the bottom that we have 66 of the 60 required cards. Anytime you are playing Classic Constructed, you must have a minimum of 60 cards in your deck before you play. Well, right now, with the way that my Jarl deck is set up, I'm playing 66 cards into Syndra. And you can see on my screen right here that all of them are highlighted and that they have all the little yellow lines around them. But there are a few that I'm not playing that are dark down here and they don't have those lines around them. So just like with the equipment, this is how you select what you're looking for. Now, after we've set up our equipment and we've set up our deck, I'm going to go ahead and jump back to this equipment tab right here just so that I have some more space. You have an option to leave the game. It almost looks like it's grayed out and you can't click on it, but before you jump into the game, if you decide you don't want to play this match, all you have to do is click that leave button and it's going to take you right back to that Talishar homepage, making your life so much easier and you can find a new game or create a new one. If you created a private game and you wanted to quickly copy the invite link to share with your friends, you have a button down here in the bottom left. If you click on the little yellow box next to copy invite link, it is going to automatically copy that to your clipboard so that you can then paste the link to your friends. You can send that to them in Discord. You can send that to them however you talk to your friends. You can send this link to them so that they can very quickly just click on the link. It'll ask them to select a deck, and then they'll jump in and start playing against you guys. This is a really cool way to be able to quickly find this and get this link to your friends. Once we have set up our deck and we're now ready to start playing, we have the submit deck button down here at the bottom. Now that we're ready to start playing the game, we're going to submit our deck. Once our opponent has submitted their deck as well, it's going to automatically start the game for us and we're ready to start playing. All right, so we've created our game. We have sideboarded correctly. Both us and our opponent have submitted our decks, and this is what the user interface looks like. This is what it looks like when you're playing games. Now, the first thing that I want to point out is you'll notice that down here at the bottom, you'll be able to see me. I'm playing Jarl, so I'm always going to be on the bottom. When you create your game, you will be on the bottom, and your opponent will be on the top half of the section. And you can kind of tell because there's a little bit of a black divide right here between your all's playmats inside of the game. Now, when we look around the arena, we have different equipment pieces over here. It shows us our 4-card hand, 3 or 5-card hand, depending on which hero you play. We have our weapon and our offhand equipment. We have our graveyard, our deck, and our banish zone over here. And you can also see the chat over here for things that are happening. As you play cards, activate abilities, and move through the game of Flesh and Blood, all of those will pop up down in the bottom right in that little chat log for you to be able to see. Also, if your opponent sends a message, you'll be able to see that message in the chat down in the bottom right. Now, we don't have any cards in our graveyard just yet, but you'll notice that our opponent has cards in their graveyard. So let's go ahead and look at this. If I click on my opponent's graveyard, it opens it up so that I can see every single card that's in their graveyard. Now, as they get more cards in their graveyard, they'll expand down through here. You also have a very neat tool and a quick way to be able to see what your opponent's played. You can click on this sort button and it'll automatically sort things alphabetically for you. You'll be able to find things quicker. We can see right now that our opponent only has 1 copy of Red 0 to 60 left in their deck. If I wanted to close out of this, I'm going to click the little gray X in the top right-hand corner. That'll take me back to the Talishar UI. Now that we've talked about, like the arena and what everything looks like, let's talk about life totals and action points. You can see you and your opponent's life total right here in this blue bar on the right-hand side of the screen. I'm at 40 and my opponent's at 9,999. Now, this may look a little silly because if you play Flesh and Blood before, you know that that's not how life totals work. Most heroes start at 40 in Classic Constructed. The practice dummy bot is set up to never lose life. They have a capped out life and they never lose life. So even when I attack them, we won't actually deal any damage to them. It's going to automatically stay at that same number all the time because the practice dummy is just for like goldfishing hands, setting things up, and trying to work through the mechanics of the game. Out to the left of the life totals, you see 1 AP. This tells me I have 1 action point. As you go up or down in action points, this number will change to reflect what's happening for you. The other thing that I want to talk about is this pass button right here. The pass button is how you're going to pass priority back and forth from your opponent. You can either take your mouse and left click on this 1 time, or you can hit the space bar and it'll automatically pass for you. The space bar can save you a lot of time. So now that we've talked about the arena and everything on here, let's talk about activated abilities. So I have Gauntlets of the Boreal domain over here on the left-hand side. If I hover over this, I can see that I can pay 2 as a once per turn action that has go again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my mouse, hover over this, and I'm going to click on it. When I click on this, it now puts an active layer on the stack that I'm going to have to pay for. It says choose a card to pitch, 0 of 2 resources. If you decided you didn't want to do this, you could simply just hit this little cancel button and it'll take back that action for you. Now that we've activated Gauntlets of the Boreal domain, I'm going to click on a card in my hand to select how I want to pay for this. So I'm going to pick Channel Lake Frigid by clicking on it one time. You'll notice that now I've paid for the cost. It's going to put Channel Lake Frigid in my pitch zone, and now this is on the stack. So when I click pass right here, it's going to pass priority to my opponent. My opponent chose to accept this, so they hit pass back, and now we're at the next place where I have priority. So now that we've activated ability this turn, let's talk about how we can attack our opponent. If I wanted to attack with my weapon, Titan's Fist, I would simply click on it one time, click the cards in my hand to pay for the cost, and then it'll attack for me and move onto the combat chain. But we have Enlightened Strike in our hand. Attacking for 7 is better than attacking for 4. So I'm going to click on Enlightened Strike. It's now going to tell me that I have to put a card from my hand on the bottom of my deck. That's because as an additional cost to play Enlightened Strike, I have to put a card from my hand on the bottom of my deck. So I'm going to put the other Enlightened Strike on the bottom of my deck, and then I have 3 modes to pick from that Enlightened Strike gives me the options to do. I can draw a card, I can buff the power, or I can give it go again if I would like to. Well, all I have is a defense reaction in my hand that I really want to arsenal, so I'm going to pick buff power right here so that it automatically comes in for 7. So I click buff power right here, I click pass to pass priority to my opponent, and now it's giving my opponent the option to block. It says the defense step, I hit pass one more time, and now my opponent has decided not to block, and so now we're in what's called the reaction step. So now that we're in the reaction step, my opponent could play defense reactions. I could play attack reactions. Excuse me. Like if I had an attack reaction I wanted to play, now is my window to be able to play it. But since I don't, I'm just going to go ahead and click my pass button one more time. Now we're in the damage step. My opponent takes 7 damage. I'm going to pass priority. Now, since I'm out of action points, I can't do anything else I want to do. So I'm going to hit pass. It's going to tell me that we're moving to the end of my turn. If I hit pass one more time, it pops up and it says, choose a card to arsenal. Well, I have a Shelter from the Storm in my hand. I'd like to arsenal this defense reaction and set up for a better turn. So I'm going to click on it, and now it automatically draws up my next 4 cards here. And then you can see, even though my Shelter from the Storm is face down, that means that my opponent is not able to see it. I can hover over it and I can see my Shelter from the Storm. So this is a great way to like hide information from your opponent and still be able to see things as you're going through the game. Now, our opponent starts their turn by attacking with Wrench-tastic. This is a once per turn action, 0 cost attack for 4. Since they're attacking for 4, we don't really want to block with any of the cards in our hand, so we're just going to go ahead and use our Shelter from the Storm. So we're going to pass. It's now going to ask us about blocks. You have the option to single click on any one of the cards in your hand to block this effectively. So if I clicked on Thunderquake, it's now on the combat chain and I'm blocking this for 3. And you'll notice it tells me how much they're attacking for and how much I'm blocking for. So it gives me a lot of good information here. But let's say that after this, I decided I didn't want to block. I can come down here and I can choose to hit undo block. And if I do this, it'll automatically put the Thunderquake back in my hand. So what we're going to do is we're not going to block because we're going to play our Shelter from the Storm. So we're going to go ahead and click pass. So now it's going to tell us we're skipping through the defense step. And then if we click pass one more time, it tells us to choose a reaction. Well, now that we have our reactions, you'll notice we have this little green layer around our Shelter from the Storm right here. And we now have the ability to play it. So we're going to go ahead and click on Shelter from the Storm, and it's going to add this active layer. So now it puts our Shelter from the Storm up on the combat chain. and we're now blocking for 4, and you can see the image of our shelter from the storm up here at the top. We click pass and we move to damage. We didn't take any because we blocked for 4 efficiently. And then if we hit pass one more time, it tells us that the end of turn is happening. And if we hit pass, it'll come back to our turn. Now, we talked about activated abilities last turn on my turn when I activated my gauntlets of the Boreal domain. Now, let's say that there are some things in the game that don't automatically become activated. Fiendal's Spring Tunic is a great example of this. If we take our Fiendal Spring Tunic, for example, when you're playing in real life, you have to add a dice to your Fiendal Spring Tunic to be able to tick that up every turn. But you'll notice that Talishar automatically has a 2 on it for me. Talishar is automatically ticking up Tunic for me because it's a thing that happens at the beginning of the turn. So if you're learning the game, this is nice to know that Talishar will help you out, but be careful as you move into competitive play. You do have to remember these triggers at bigger events. So we've now played a couple of turns, and let's say at this point we're tired of playing the game, or maybe we feel like we're losing and we just want to concede because, we're going to go grab some dinner and do something else. To be able to concede, we're going to go ahead and come up to the top up here. We're going to find our little hamburger menu right here. Our hamburger menu, if you click on this, gives you some settings. Now, we have our concede button. We have our homepage button. You can also undo things from here. You have quite a few options in here. To concede the game, all you have to do is left click on that concede button one time and it'll automatically do it for you. Before we concede our game, let's talk about the undo button. You have a couple of ways you can do this. You can click on this little back, half a circle right there, a little arrow pointing back. That'll undo things for you. Or you can click the U on your keyboard and it'll automatically take you back. So there is a way that you can undo things on Talishar, which is a great way to be able to play better games against your opponent to make sure that mistakes aren't happening. So we've played a few turns. We're ready to wrap it up and get out of here. We're going to click on the hamburger menu in the top right-hand corner, and then we're going to go ahead and click our concede button right here. Once I click concede, I'm going to click the X in the top right-hand corner. Now I'm going to get all of these stats. Look at this. It'll show me all of the cards that I played over the course of the game. It'll show me how long the game went on. It'll show me how much damage I threatened, how much damage was dealt, how much damage was prevented, different things like this. It also shows me different damage that I threatened or dealt over the course of the game based on different turns that I played, meaning that we have the ability to be able to go back and look at all of our stats as we need to, setting us up to be able to see great information about the game as we're learning. If you lose a game or win a game and you decide you'd like to play that again, you have some options up here. You can do a full rematch, which means you're going to have the ability to sideboard differently. It even says new sideboard out to the side. If you hit quick rematch, it's going to automatically restart the game. There's no sideboarding, and whoever went first or second the first time will do the exact same thing this time. Or if you click the main menu button, it'll automatically take you back out to that home screen so that you can start over from scratch. So we're going to go ahead and click on this main menu button, and now we're back at the home page. Guys, please keep in mind this is designed to be a new player tutorial. This does not cover all of the things that Talishar has to offer. This is designed to help you get into the game, learn more about the basics so you can start playing Flesh and Blood online through the Talishar.net client that we all use and we all love. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Take it easy, guys.